Hey dudes, Silvite Soltis here, and today I've got a new type of video guide for you. Over the past few months, I've been enjoying the hell out of my main class, the Priest. And while it seems that everything that can be learned in this game has already been figured out, I've also noticed that a lot of people make things a lot harder than they need to be. So, in this video, I thought I'd just share a few tips about playing a healing priest that you might not be aware of. Let's get right into it, shall we? Tip number 1. Mouseover Macros. In the world of add-ons and clicky keybinds, it seems that many people forget that Mouseover Macros exist. These type of macros, which can be written for any spell you want to cast in Classic, allow you to simply mouse over a target taking damage and press the appropriate keybind. No add-on required. Here's the basic Mouseover macro. This is good for raids, dungeons, or even PvP. The best part of all is that you can choose which ranks of spells are cast by simply adding it in parentheses, like this. Note that there are no spaces between the brackets or the parentheses. So a Mouseover macro for a rank 4 heal spell would look like this. All in all, it takes a bit of setting up, but by making these macros for all of your main spells, like Renew, Heal, Greater Heal, Flash Heal, and Power Word Shield, you can save yourself a headache of setting up and remembering a bunch of weird shift-control left-click type combinations that are used by many healing add-ons. It's pretty awesome, if I do say so myself. Tip number 2, downranking. So, everyone knows about downranking at this point, but one of the hardest things for many priests seems to be figuring out exactly which ranks to use for what. So, I thought I would just post right here the best way to go about it that I've found. Use Heal rank 2 for low consistent damage on a tank or party members. Use Heal rank 4 to keep your tank up if it's a little bit heavier. Use Flash Heal rank 4 for bursty raid healing. Use Flash Heal rank 7 for oh shit moments in tank healing. If you're assigned to raid heals, you should use Renew rank 6 for raid healing, although Flash Heal is probably going to be more common. And use Renew rank 9 for tank healing if you're spec'd for improved Renew, and have more spell power than the other priests. The only Power Word Shield you should be using is Power Word Shield rank 10, and honestly, you should just be using that on the tanks, or maybe to prevent Living Bomb damage during that Baron-Geddon fight. Finally, you should have Greater Heal rank 4 on your bars, only for when the tank needs a huge heal, and you'll probably want to have a Power Word Shield on them if that's the case, just to make sure that they don't get knocked off. Also, you should use Inner Focus to save mana if you're running low and need that big heal toward the end of a fight. Again, make some Mouseover macros for each of those spells and bind them to your preferred keys. Also, you can play with different ranks based on your mana pool and plus healing, but these are the ones that I've found are the most consistently effective throughout my entire gearing process, so they're the ones I think you should mostly use. Tip number 3. Go for Power Infusion. In the current era of min-maxing everything, many priests seem to be going deep holy in order to be the best healers that they can possibly be. However, there's another super viable healing spec that can really benefit your raid as a whole that you should really consider if you haven't already: the Power Infusion Deep Discipline spec. Power Infusion is an insanely powerful buff for casters and healers alike. Boosting damage and healing by 20% for 15 seconds can really give your raid the edge it needs in Molten Core, Blackwing Lair, and beyond. Your casters will love you, and you can be sure you'll keep your raid spot so long as you're the sole proprietor of this amazing buff. Sure, your healing won't be as strong, but with enough other deep holy priests, that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Just for good measure, here's a Mouseover macro that I currently use when casting Power Infusion, and I'll include it in the description below if you want to copy-paste it for yourself. Enjoy being an even more valued member of your raid team. But of course, make sure you talk to your raid leader and the other priests to see if you have another PI priest in your group. Tip number 4. Pre-raid BIS is not always the best. Again, in this age of min-maxing, it seems that everything is constantly all about that BIS. And while pre-raid best-in-slot items are undoubtedly very powerful, people seem to forget a very important aspect of best-in-slot. It's the best item for a slot, not always the best combination of gear to have overall. A couple weeks ago, I happened to pick up my Robes of Prophecy, which was a big downgrade compared to my Robes of the Exalted from Strat Undead. But I equipped the item anyway. My healing went down by something like 46 from that swap alone, but the stats really made up for it. I was able to heal for longer without going out of mana, I looked a lot cooler, and I'm one piece closer to my 5-set bonus. Many pre-raid BIS items, like Gloves of the Exalted Herald or the Hammer of Grace, are simply big pools of plus healing. In my experience, however, a balance of the high stam int spirit set pieces and high plus healing items is vastly superior overall, simply due to the sustained healing that results. So mix and match some pieces, and keep some of those high stat items to swap as needed. Tip number 5. Keep Fade handy. I can't count the number of times that I've seen a priest in a raid get healing aggro from a lava giant when a tank mysteriously dies. The priests that don't get aggro are typically spec'd into the reduced threat talent in the discipline tree, sacrificing things like improved power or shield, or stun resistance. But there's a better way, priests. Keep Fade handy. I'm sure this is common sense to many of you, but sometimes common knowledge isn't all that common, so just a reminder that we all have this awesome threat reduction tool at our disposal, so make sure you use it. Personally, I always keep it bound to my Q key, just in case. It's right near my forward key, and right between my heal spells, so I always can just smack it as needed. Tip number 6. Flash heal is your friend. Okay, last tip for today. We all know that mana conservation is important, and that heal rank 2 and 4 are among the most efficient heals that we can use. However, as many of the fights in Classic, at least in Molten Core, end fairly quickly, you should definitely make use of Flash Heal to keep people alive. Now this is something that I only recently realized myself, as I was always trying to keep my mana sustained throughout fights. As my guild improved its speed in downing bosses, though, I noticed that I could typically heal better, and obviously faster, by using Flash Heal instead. Sure, it somewhat snipes the other healers, but it ensures that you get the heals to those who need them, and in time. And also, it looks a lot better on parses, so yeah. Obviously, keep an eye on your mana pool, but don't be afraid to use a few quick flash heals to recover from bursty damage. So, there you have it. 6 tips for playing your Holy Priest that you might not have thought about. Obviously, there's a lot more you could do if you're willing to research all of the nitty-gritty, but I think that these are some of the more important ones that all Healy priests can make use of. As always, if you have any tips for me about playing this magnificent class, feel free to leave a comment down below, as we can always learn from each other. I'm by no means perfect at this class, and I love learning things that I haven't thought about before as I play this fun 15-year-old video game. But yeah, that's it for today. If you liked this video, or found it useful, why not subscribe, and leave a comment down below letting me know what you thought about it. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter for updates on content, and check out my blog over on Blogspot, where I write down all of these guides before I make videos here on YouTube. Thanks for watching, have an awesome day, good luck healing, and as always, take it easy, guys.